month with a beautiful title of Mandela's Legacy. Last week we brought you part 1. This week we are bringing part 2. Right? So I'm going to take a minute and then we sit down and we breathe because, oh wow, it's been a party in here. I know guys, applause Nyana. 26 years later, we still have inequality between different races. We still have people that are crying of gender inequalities, and we want to understand, is this part and parcel of the racial discrimination that we faced during apartheid? And if that is the case, have we actually forgiven those injustices? I'm talking about the Truth and Reconciliation Commissions, where we were told that we must hear the truth in order to forgive you. We are talking about the suspension of the armed struggle. We are talking about when Mandela came back from prison. And with me, I've got very handsome people. And I'm actually the only beautiful one right here. Hey, I'm going to start with this one. I've got the handsome Mufasa Hakamela, Lion of the North, Maneru. Hey, did he everything? Did he flames? Did he all, man? Round of applause, Nyana, guys. Woo! How are you?
I'm good, Denisa.
I'm so excited to see you here, Shem. You're looking all handsome because this lockdown has been treating you well.
No, we're trying. We're always sitting Mufasa. So.
You're cleaning the system, ne?
Yes.
Okay, and then I have to my far left, Andisani Masindi.
Yeah.
Nendo toket nanataizo ndorondera zvanhu namusi because ndikavona namusi vari kupisa riko gocha ukataveke mwachiro ndigoita hoyu hezvi ndakoropanga hoyu ndaita hezvi. It was nje promises on top of promise.
Correct. The aim is to educate each other at the end of the day. That's the mission of this particular event that we are doing today.
Yeah.
I'm good, thanks, my sister. How are you?
I'm very good, Shem. We're all cool, calm and collected. Yes, you're like the innocent type.
Yes, it's a student. We're busy delivering students to the promised land. Okay,
you have him at Givela-san. So if you didn't know, this man right here is the former president of Univen. He is also the founder of Mufasa Sauce. He is the man. Him right there is the Speaker of Univen Parliament. Yabo, he's the one that goes like, hey, Ndlozi, order, Parliament, Nditi, order. He's the one, yabo. And then here with me, I've got the chairperson of one of the biggest schools in Univen, the School of Human and Social Science. So you can see by YouTube, I've got young people. But it doesn't end there. With me also, I've got through arts entertainment, guys. Yeah. Hey, Nditi, there, yeah, Nditi, round of applause. Yeah. Vision with me. He's the CEO, chairman of Stop the Sport Youth Organization. Round of applause, Nya. And of course, you know, every week I've got her with me. You never see her. Her name is Fikile. She's the backbone of this show. But let's give her a round of applause. I also have my twin sister. I have Salome, and yeah, she's here with us today. She decided that she's coming to make sure the show goes on. Let's give her a round of applause today. After all these people, of course, there's me, the beautiful one. Hey, the plus size fire. Hey, I'm here. But before we go any further, you know, it's our tradition. When the show starts, we have to give you links so that you can invite your friends to come in and see the show. Yeah, naturally, we have to do the same thing. Yeah, they've got to invite their comrades or comrades. It has started. We are there. We are pushing, and it's fire. Fikile, move us with that song again so that we can share the link. Yeah, we're going to take 1 minute to do that, and after that 1 minute. Hey, watching, please share the link. Tell your friends the show is on. Now we are about to go. I'm going to start with you, Mufasa. Have South Africans forgiven the legacy? I mean, have they forgiven the injustices of apartheid?
Okay, thank you very much. When we talk about forgiveness, it's an individual decision. It's when a person, based on their conscience, how they feel. But in general, the issue of racism, it has been there for quite some time. Actually, we're born with these things of slavery before apartheid. Then black people themselves have been suffering from that time. Then the issue of forgiveness, you can't say that now we have forgive, because you can still see a lot of challenges that are caused by the same challenge of racism. Recently, George Floyd has just died at America. It's a black person which was a victim of racism. Then for us to say that we're forgiven while every time we are provoked, while we are reminded that as a black person you are suppressed, you're supposed to succumb to white supremacy. Then for myself as an individual, I will say that we haven't forgotten, we haven't forgive yet.
Okay, let's start here. What are the injustices, the core injustices that you feel that these are the injustices that the South African people have not forgiven in terms of the way it was done in apartheid?
Yes, of course, we are living at a democratic state, a rainbow nation where everyone is equal. But in reality, in terms of sharing the wealth, we are not sharing the same wealth, where black people are still isolated from being active participants of the economy.
Okay. I hope you two are listening, because this is going to form part and parcel of the debate we'll have today. So the statement that Mufasa is giving is going to tell us how you guys will respond to this one. So now, in terms of what you are saying, to say there's still a lot of inequality, and maybe this is the reason why the South African community has not necessarily forgiven the injustices of apartheid. What is it that the ruling party has been trying to do actively so to make sure that they get this inequality between the blacks and the white, the Indians and the blacks also? What is it that the ruling party has been trying to do? Or what is it that the government in general has been trying to do?
So far what has been done is to maintain that there is no internal conflicts. If you checked, we never had a civil war here in South Africa. And when you check on the ground, there's still this crisis where people are still feel that they are left behind from benefiting. Then they feel like those injustices determine their future. Like currently, a lot of people are frustrated in terms of employment. Employment, if you check, historical, our people have been working in farms. A lot of people have been working in households as like helpers or housemates.
Okay.
Then a lot of people have been working as petrol attendants. Then since we have came to a democratic era, what has been achieved is something that our generation has now to fight and challenge.
Okay.
That's where we see the reflection that our forgiveness did not find value because people are still suffering.
Okay.
Then the question is that what is the government doing? If you check, a lot of people now, they have their own house as RDP. A lot of people are having access to electricity. Some are paying.
I can see that somebody is raising their eyebrows. Do you have a question before he continues?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Thank you very much, by the way, for the opportunity. I'm having a conflict of interest with my colleague here on my right-hand side, the former president. The former president, it's making assumptions that we are living in a democratic country, and I stand to refuse that. Actually, to say it's not the correct answer that the president that is giving, because we are democratic, but we are still being hindered by the chains which were there before the democratic country that we are in. Southern Africa.
Okay, let me stop you right there.
Yes.
In your view, what should we say democracy is? Because you're saying that we're not living in a democratic state because we are still hindered by the chains of apartheid.
Yes.
Then you need to tell us that what is the correct way that democracy should be rendered to people.
Okay. As South Africans, or as the majority black people, we are having a problem of dealing with the issue of apartheid from the leaves. We leave the stem. The issue of apartheid didn't come from the word apartheid only. There is, before apartheid, there is colonization. And before the apartheid comes, we must be colonized first. It means that the people who came and colonized us, they colonized us physically, post-apartheid, they abused us physically before the apartheid regime, and also they are continuing. But in this time, they are doing it in a different platform, which we call it capitalism. It's still the same apartheid that they are rendering. Then when the president says that we are living in a democratic equal country, that's where I stand to raise my eyebrows, because that was not the correct statement. We are not living in a democratic country. We are living in a capitalist state. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairperson of Decision, for this. I wanted also to in chain with what the Speaker of the Parliament has raised there, and that I also wanted to put in terms of the democracy that we are having. You know, when it comes to the democracy, maybe to answer the question that you asked to the Speaker of the Parliament there. When we talk about having the democracy, up to so far, we don't have a democracy. The total democracy that we need as black people, right? Okay, there is what we call the Black Lives Matter, right? Not to say that when it's said Black Lives Matter, it doesn't mean that white lives don't matter. Okay? It is that if we can check the rules that we're still having now, until now there is no any democracy that we're seeing. When we talk about the full democracy, or the radicality there in the democracy, we talk about being free politically, economically, and social. Okay, yes. So the three go hand and glove. Okay. Okay. So when we talk about the democracy, I also refuse that we're in democracy. There is no that freedom that us as black people need. Okay. And maybe to answer the question, the question in content about did we forgive did we forgive and forget? Yes, did we forgive and forget the injustice of apartheid? So far, myself personally, I think no, I cannot. So far, I cannot agree or maybe to understand the fact that I have to forgive someone who is still hating me. You know, you can simply forgive someone who's no longer treating you the very same way that he's been treating you. Okay. So far, if you can check, when we talk about the injustice, we're talking about the injustice, the racial injustice, the religious injustice. We must be specific in this thing, that when we talk about injustice, what is it exactly that we're talking about? Okay, so the injustice that it is based on racism, which is racial injustice, and also what is racial injustice and religious injustice, right? That you can see as so far we still have white people who still have that mindset of oppression, that mindset of apartheid era. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. The comrades have said their opinions, which is very much key. When we are in a democratic state, it's when a person, like the speaker did, he raised up his eyebrows. He raised them up, then we saw that he has a concern, he was afforded a chance. Okay. That is democracy. We must not mix issues. You want to mix apartheid, you want to mix democracy. It's like you are bringing a chakalaka there. Okay. The only chakalaka that we can tolerate or accept is Mufasa sauce. Then when comrades now start to base their opinions as facts, it's when they are trying to mislead themselves. Because of, we are going to assist by clarifying to say that, no, there is apartheid, there is democracy. Democracy is the government by the people. It's when people are able to raise concerns. But our challenge as black people is that we don't feel like we have reached the full potential of the freedom that we dreamt of. Okay. Yes, of course, now we are analyzing the life and times and the legacy of Nelson Mandela. Yes, yes. As he was a struggle stalwart, an elite that was leading the liberation of people, black people, to be able to get freedom. So people now, they feel like they're entitled to a hero, who now they must only focus their lives and feel like after they don't have a responsibility of performing a certain agenda as black people.
Okay.
The battle, the war is not for an individual, it's for us as black people. If we feel like we are not equal with the white people, we are majority, we are too many. This is our country. You understand? Then in our country, what needs to happen is that us as black people, we must be united.
Okay, I have this question for you, Speaker of Parliament, before you raise an eyebrow. What are the injustices? Because I think we have heard from Mufasa what he thinks the injustices of apartheid were. What are the injustices of apartheid that you feel like South Africans have a problem with forgiving and forgetting?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk on that. South Africans are the victims in all of this. Allow me to explain when I say South Africans are the victims. There was a truth reconciliation reconciliation commission which was formed by the ruling party at that time. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it was not concluded by the ruling party. I don't know if it's the new information that I'm bringing to the table, but Truth and Reconciliation was never concluded. It was dissolved. I will give a very perfect example about this whole situation. The apartheid of pre-1994 is like you program director, you are sitting in this room. The room is very warm and you want to feel comfortable, you want to feel cold. For me to exchange with you my chair in the same room doesn't mean that you are going to feel comfortable in my chair. You just exchange chairs, but we are still in the same room that we are feeling the hot temperature in. It's the same thing that happened with the pre and post apartheid. The ruling party and the former colonizers. There is an unholy alliance between a former colonizer and the ruling elite. So we can't come and say that there is no alliance between apartheid and democracy because
now, allow me to stop you right there.
Yes.
You're speaking about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
Definitely.
Now, I want to ask you this. Do you think, because you're saying that it was dissolved.
It was dissolved.
Now, I want to know, in your view, do you think that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was a good idea to begin with?
No, it was not, because to tell the truth, you can't forget something that you haven't gotten out of.
Okay.
Because
can we do this? The Truth and Reconciliation Commission basically was, you tell us the truth about what you did, we forgive you.
Yes.
So that is what we are talking about right now.
With the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it was a program which was started without counting on how the effect is going to make. Because if you are saying that I have to forgive someone, I need to forgive someone on a basis that those people, they've stopped with what they were doing before. Because if for me to forgive someone about something they did to me, they must stop it so that then I forgive about something. Then we cannot say that you cannot forgive something which you never gotten out of, because we are still from the racial segregation of the pre-apartheid. We were escalated, or we were transitioning to a new era of economic apartheid or capitalism in that particular manner.
Do you think that the truth that was told in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission brought about some sort of closure for South Africans to say, at least we know what happened?
Most of the South Africans, they were. It's something that it was deep to them. Some of them, they lost family relatives. Some of them, they even lost a huge plot of land. And then when they come to talk about that truth, you cannot find closure. It's not easy just to find closure from something that was taken away from you. Especially after that, the apartheid regime came and spit in your faces about the same Truth and Reconciliation Commission which was formed. The same people who dissolved the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. You can't come and say that I must forgive someone who's spitting again on my face.
Yes, thanks, Chairperson of the session. I want to comment on what the Speaker there has raised. In terms of the truth and reconciliation, I think here we're talking about the two different things, right? Of which obviously, but they should go hand in glove again. Okay, when we talk about the truth, you speak truth as you have mentioned already. You speak the truth and we forgive you. Okay, if we can check, the white minority, they told people the truth, or the black people the truth, that okay, we did this and this and that. Actually, they confirmed whatever that they've been doing, of which some of the black people, they've been there during the situation. I mean, during the situation that was happening by that time. But then, when it comes to the truth, yes, they've told us the truth, and then we're expecting to forgive them. Okay. But then, for what Speaker has been saying, I agree when it comes to the reconciliation, that yes, we cannot forgive someone who's still hating you. You cannot forgive someone who's still hating you, who is continuously hating you, you see. So, but then when it comes to the truth, for the statement that he raised, I think he raised something maybe to be against the truth that they've told us. That I'm against what he has raised there. When it comes to the truth that they've told us, we accept it, okay? But then when it comes to the reconciliation, we cannot at all. But from the part of the truth, we agree that for the truth that they've told us, they've done an important part, of which when it comes to the reconciliation, that's when we cannot at all.
Now, why is it that you find the truth and you accept their version of the truth, but you don't want to accept the term that comes with that truth, to say, when you receive the truth and you find it truthful, and you say, I accept this truth, then you have to forgive this person?
Because they're still continuing with what they've been doing. So far, if we can check the white people, or the group of white people, they're still continuing. Those people are still, as I've mentioned before, that they're still having that mindset of oppression. Okay, if we can check, we still have, yes, we have white people whom they can sit with you, or maybe they can stay with you, whatever, but then with that love that they love black people, but then they're not men. Okay.
During 1652, the Dutch gangsters came and took our land by force. And that on its own, it's something that those people, they took the land from the people who were residing in Southern Africa. Those people are the real owners of the land. And to say that we must expropriate land without compensation, it's not something that we are saying that it's because white people, we don't want to share the land with them. No, it's because the land belongs to the state. Who is the state? Me and you and this one, we are the state. We are the full custodians of the land. And if we are saying that almost 10% of the population in Southern Africa is owning almost 80% of the means of production in Southern Africa, yet 80% of population in South Africa, which are black people, owning almost less than 10% of the means of production in South Africa, you can see on its own, it's an improper fraction. Therefore, we cannot allow to say that there is equality. We can't preach equality on this side. We preach a minority and majority on this side. And this side, minority are ruling, majority are losing. Yet on the left-hand side, we preach equality. It can never happen. That's why we are preaching that the land must be expropriated without compensation. Because the land was taken from black people who was residing during the era of 1652, when the Dutch gangsters arrived in Southern Africa.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Victor. I will speak, my leader. On the issue of land, I want to clarify what do we mean when we're talking about having the land. We're talking about you, Thelma, now having your own stand, having your own land where you are able to build your next house. You understand?
Are you saying that is the movement of land expropriation without compensation, or you are saying that you are advocating for me to have a stand?
I'm defining land for you.
Okay.
What is to have land? Because of we must not confuse things, and we think that having a land maybe is having a farm.
Okay.
We're talking about land as yourself, as a citizen. If you feel like you are entitled, you belong here in South Africa, you have a land of your own. That's the land distribution that we are speaking about. The land distribution, another one that we are speaking about, is the one of having land to be able to do business. Having land to able to plant food, to grow your own food. Because of that is important in terms of food security. It's very much important for your own welfare. So the issue of land is very much broad in a way that we all need to have the land. As young people, as South African young people, we are saying that we need the land. The land is ours. If our forefathers were in the forefront of fighting for the freedom, it must be expressed under us, benefiting from that fruit of freedom that they were fighting for. That's when we're talking about the issue of land. Thank you very much.
Yes, I want to comment also on the issue of the land. When it comes to the land, I think this thing has been ruled from what we call the principles and the policies that were formed by the government of the Apartheid.
Okay.
When we talk about the exploitation of labor and expropriation of land, okay, where those people, the Western people, or the the Western people who came here in South Africa and they claimed the land through what we call the expropriation of land. And when it comes to after they've colonized us, that okay, we came here and then they implement the laws, the policies, and also everything that they can be against a black man. So when it comes after that, after the expropriation of land, then exploitation of labor was implemented to say that when it comes to the workers, all workers must be under ourselves, right? That in this government, the government of the white people,
I want to correct the man. He's not speaking something that he's supposed to be speaking. Can I answer him?
You can go ahead.
The exploitation of labor that is speaking about was not it is something which was implemented during the act of slavery, when each and every white people, when they come into an area, they declare that each and every indigenous person residing in the area must go and work for the white man. And the exploitation of labor go hand in hand with the expropriation of land, expropriation of land without compensation. They go hand in hand.
I think I was still explaining. And you jumped into continuing my stand, of which myself I was trying to explain to you so that you can also acquire knowledge about what I was trying to give you. No, with what I was still explaining. I was trying to give you
the act of labor.
Okay, let's go back.
Let's talk about.
Let's not confuse each other. Let's go back to the exploitation of labor.
The act of slavery is the one.
Let's go back to the. We'll be confused.
You want to both speak at the same time.
But
the act of slavery,
if maybe we are not
the act of slavery,
being relevant, we have to be relevant. We have to be relevant. The exploitation of labor and the expropriation of land. This is what we have to apply. We have to understand this. We should understand the two.
The act of slavery is the one which led us.
But then that's where we will sound like we are clowning. That's when we will start confusing.
We can't talk about apartheid without the act of slavery.
But then you have to first understand the exploitation of labor and expropriation of land.
They go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand.
But when black people were expropriated land without compensation, they were also exploited with labor.
That's
through the act of
labor. As black people, that's where we are. We don't have to understand each other. We don't have to listen to apartheid. That's the problem that we have as black people.
Do you agree that the act of slavery led to apartheid?
We should understand each other first.
Do you agree that the act of slavery led to apartheid? That's my question. Do you agree that the act of slavery led to apartheid?
The what?
The act of slavery led to apartheid.
Yes, it led to apartheid. That one is true.
I have no further questions. You can continue.
Yes, thank you very much, Speaker of the Parliament. So, for the question that you have raised there, that the act of the slavery, that is when now we can talk about the exploitation of labor and the expropriation of land. Okay, that the white people, when they come in this country, or maybe if we can put it generally, that are in Africa, in this continent, okay, that in each and every country, we have Tanzania and Congo, that were the first countries to do what, to have
that's not
independence.
Okay? Independence was gained by DRC Congo 50 years ago. It was not Tanzania, it was not any other of them.
What did they say?
It was DRC Congo.
What did they say?
It was Congo.
Didn't I say Tanzania and Congo?
It was
you must have a skill of listening. You must have a skill of listening. I said Tanzania and Congo, DRC Congo. They gained their independence in 1960s. Okay, So yourself, you must have a skill of understanding, of listening. That's why you understand.
That's okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
But then when we debate, we must have a skill of listening. That's why you apply understanding. Okay? Yes.
Girl, police. Hot in here. Mufasa, you have helped them, Shem.
Okay, thank you very much. You are surprised that I'm quiet. Myself, I'm not quiet. I'm not that dramatic when another person is speaking.
Or maybe you have an idea, my brother.
So I believe that it's a debate
Okay.
that one must speak, one must listen. So back to the topic, because of the question is, have we forgiven the injustice? Have we forgotten? No. The investment of apartheid or colonization, it was to discourage, dismantle black people in terms of making progress. Then I feel like they've inflicted a virus in our people, a virus of ignorance, a virus of fighting amongst each other, a virus of corruption. Where people now,
corruption.
Yes.
What's happening with corruption?
People being corrupt.
Who is corrupt?
Who is corrupt is
Government. The government.
Individuals.
The government.
Yes, the individuals that are leading.
And your government.
Yes, it's my government.
Thank you.
And what is your government doing about it?
Let me tell you something. Calling a spade, it makes you being able to fix where there is a problem. You understand?
You've been fixing for 26 years. For 26 years we've been fixing.
As we give each other chance of leading as we're in a democratic country, it means that yourself, you go and vote for people that must lead. And at that given point, there are people that are corrupt.
Hold it. Let me
So I don't want to dwell too much on corruption because of there is a topic. I wanted to show you what.
Drink juice, Shem, if you have any.
I want to show you what apartheid or what the previous state have affected the presence. Why our people are left behind in terms of development. Why are people frustrated? These are the issues now that we are unpacking in order for us to self-instrument ourselves. There where we check, okay, this is where we're dragging our feet. So as I wanted to raise a point of saying that with the issue of democracy and division within ourselves, it's when our own people, they are not able to support each other. For that, you can't blame apartheid.
Thank you very much. I'm having a problem with my colleagues. They are feeding people who are watching this thing wrong information. And it's going to be a problem. I will end up looking like the man of the match because I will be trying to correct each and everything that they are saying. The liberation movement, when it started, it was not about voting. Voting was just by the way. The liberation movement, when it was started, it was about the land redistribution and claiming all the policies, including those economic policies that black people were segregated from. And when my colleague here on my right-hand side said we were afforded a chance to vote, it was not about voting. Voting was just by the way. Because what we wanted as black people, we wanted equality. And from that equality, we deserve more than equality. Because we didn't just forget about what people did to us, but we also accommodate them. We live with them in Southern Africa. That on its own, it must show you that the voting part just added a part of you having an access to another, any other part of Southern Africa. But it was never about that. It was about black people gaining economical emancipation. It was all about that. It was never about it.
Very much. What is Mr. Agbo doing is to just mislead himself and mislead the people. Because, Speaker, hey, this man is disturbing. What he did is to mislead himself in this way. I believe that we're agreeing that people, there is more that ourselves as young people that we must play.
Do you agree that it was
something that we must degenerate from? Obvious. When you're on liberation movement,
it was not about voting.
When you're on liberation movement, what you need to achieve is for people to have their own voice, for them to be able to govern, the people to be able to lead them to lead themselves in a state where everyone has to benefit as they're entitled to the resources that are there in their land.
Going back maybe to the fact of voting, to put on the comment for what you have raised there, speak. You know, when it comes to the part of voting, it's very necessity that when it comes to voting, black people to be given a franchise, right? That a right to vote, you must be given a right to vote. But then from the point that you have raised, it's like English, the voting part is not important.
Simple English says by the way. You can do it.
But then with the lame fact that you are trying to raise,
you can vote. You have a right to vote.
With the lame fact that you are trying to raise, it's like a voting part is not important.
It is important.
It is important because,
by the way,
what we have been fighting for as black people back then is to have a franchise, of which a franchise we had now. So we're sort of like, it's like now having a franchise.
So what is the machine?
It's like now
they've died for you to vote.
It's not important. It's important in that way that we have
for you to vote.
Now yourself, you have a right to go to the station and vote.
They died
the whole right that is there with you. You have
1976 struggle, uprising.
But then
because you wanted to vote.
Now you sound insisting that the voting part is not important.
I said by the way. Should I not say by the way?
Okay, what are you raising exactly?
I'm saying. Can I speak?
What is
liberation? This is my statement. I quote. The liberation movement, when it was started, it was never about voting. Voting was just by the way. If you understand English, maybe you should be understanding me. Unfortunately,
but I think you fail to understand. You
fail going to be understanding more better.
You fail to understand at first when this point was raised at first.
I said by the way.
No, yourself, you know
what is the meaning of by the way?
You have a problem of not listening.
What does by the way mean?
I think I'm repeating this for the fourth time, that you should have a skill of listening.
That's why you by the way.
Okay,
that's when you have an understanding. Because now you see you are misleading yourself. You are misleading yourself because you don't have the skill of listening and understanding.
Thank you very much, comrades. You must not come here and be emotional. You are behaving like a couple in a bedroom having a misunderstanding. You must not come here and express your emotion and get out of context. Because of here we have something that we have to debate about. We have a topic that we are pushing. The main.
Do you know what is debate yourself?
No, debate is not.
Do you know what of howling? There is not any emotions that are raised here. But there are no emotions that are raised. Let us correct each other. But then before we continue, let's correct each other. A debate is not about emotions. A debate is what is a debate? You have to understand what is debate. What
it's okay. Fikile, can you please move us one slogan so that these comrades may come back and be in one spirit? We are going too far. Hot. We needed a slogan, or else now you can see the decoration is moving. Everything is just where were we, guys? Mufasa, speak.
Thank you very much. The issue of forgiveness, as I said before, it's an individual decision. But us as young people, what is the way forward on the status quo? Is that us as the young people of this country, we need to mobilize each other in a way that we liberate ourselves. Because we have seen the wrongdoings, we have seen where we're leaking. But we need to move forward as the young people and play our role. We are aware about a lot of injustice that ourselves were subjected to. But now is the time for us as the young people to liberate ourselves. Yes, the racism exists. We know that there are people white people in particular, that don't love us, that don't like us. But it's fine, we'll move forward. We are not going to a civil war, we are not going to hold someone by his neck and say that now we are fighting you. We are going to fight as a black generation, as the black people, by uniting ourselves, by being able to assist each other. Ourselves as black people, we have a culture of trade, where if myself, I'm a farmer, I'm having potatoes, someone is also a farmer, the person is having a spinach, someone is also a farmer, is having an onion. We come hand in hand, we trade, we exchange. It can be in a form of money that our customers will be buying, or it's in a form of those products itself we can exchange and still eat as black brothers and still survive. But we need more because of, in this country, we have a lot of resources. We are producing a lot of products that are going outside, which are entitled to us as young black people. It can't be possible that myself now, I'm 26 years old and I'm at a democratic state, but still I feel like I'm still suffering from these injustices of apartheid, where we have reconciled, where we have said that we are forgiving the white people for what they have done. And also, I'm not saying that myself, I'm going to just sit and think that things are going to be handed over to me on a silver platter. I must mobilize my people must understand me, that myself as an individual, this is what I'm offering to the economy, this is what I'm offering to the society. Then we all hold our hands together, we fight together, we move forward. Because of apartheid must not destroy the vision, the mission of our generation. It must remind us where we are coming from. But we must still have a destination where we want to get to. Thank you very much.
Speaker is spelling that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Since we were a little bit distracted, allow me to get back to the topic of the day. The topic of the day, it talks about forgetting and forgiving. And the people of Southern Africa, those who were there in the pre-apartheid and post-apartheid regime, they are there. The problem is they've lost hope in politicians, particularly the ones who are there in the dinner table eating caviar. They've lost. The reason why they've lost hope from politicians, particularly the ones who are in governance, is simply because those who went to negotiate on behalf of our people, they sold that fundamental principle which constituted their struggle against colonialism. The people who went to negotiate on behalf of our people, they sold that fundamental principle. It's something that they went to negotiate for something which was different from what their liberation movement was about. They went and negotiated for their own and their daughters and their sons and their grandchildren to eat caviar. I was going to give example with a certain names, but since we are in a public platform, I won't. But there are people who are having a generational wealth right now, simply because they were there in the dinner table when a freedom of Southern Africa, of black people in particular, was negotiated by those who went to negotiate on behalf of their stomach. Thank you very much.
Stomach politics.
Yes.
Is that your name, Stomach Politics?
No, let's go back to the, because hey, we'll end up giving each other names, and mine when they come, we're going to run. Okay. So yeah, let's go back to the topic again. Maybe
white, black majority, and we are going to strive and find a revolution through trenches. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the session, and for the host that been given. And then I think it's very much, so far I think we've learned a lot. And it's not about, I'm hearing my colleagues, they're saying, somebody mentioned something like not being good in the debate. This is not all about not being good in the debate, right? This is a debate. You must first understand.